Stuntman is transformed into a spirit of vengeance and must face an army of demons to defeat evil and free his soul. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie, Ghost Rider, from 2007. In the towns of the Wild West, a legend arose about a ghost rider who served the devil to seek out impure souls. More than a century ago, the last knight was sent to the village of San Venganza to conclude a contract and seek out 1,000 evil souls for Mephisto. But realizing the power that so many spirits together could contain, the hunter refused to hand over the contract and fled, hiding in sacred grounds where evil spirits can never set foot. In the early 1990s, an acrobat his state of health, but when he finally gets up the courage to confront his father, Roxanne shows up and asks to talk to her boyfriend alone. Together, the two of them go under the tree where they had their first kiss, and the girl tells them that her father is going to send her to live with her mother. Afraid of never being able to see her again, Johnny suggests they run away. The young man is a nightmare. The future and tells his son about a number with helicopters, but notices that the young man doesn't seem as excited as he is and asks what happened. Johnny then tells him that he's going to run away with Roxanne, and Barton doesn't support his son, but when he realizes that this is what he really wants, he decides to let him go and gives him the keys to his favorite motorcycle. While his son leaves, Barton goes to the arena and prepares to jump through a flaming ring, but ends up having an accident and perishes in front of the audience. Hearing the noise, Johnny runs to his father and sees the same old man from the night before, making him realize that he really did make a pact and was tricked by the devil. Blaming himself for Barton's perishment, the young man speeds towards the meeting point when he begins to have some visions and ends up at a crossroads. After the accident, Mephisto appears in front of the man and orders him to get up, saying that the perished are useless. Standing up, Johnny accuses the stranger of eliminating his father, and the king of the underworld replies that the deal was only to cure Barton's cancer, but that they never talked about extending his life. Furious, the young man tries to hit the demon, who mysteriously disappears, saying that one day he will need him and will come back to collect his part of the deal, but that until then Johnny must stay alive. Mephisto then touches the young man's shoulders and he begins to burn from the inside out, until suddenly it's all over and the demon disappears, allowing the young man to get up as if nothing had happened. After the entity disappears, Johnny gets on his bike and continues driving towards the tree, but instead of grabbing Roxanne to get away, he just stares at her and decides to leave on his own, spending the next few years building a successful career as an acrobat. World famous, Johnny is doing more and more dangerous stunts, and for that day's show he decides to jump over 20 trucks, but when it's time to land, he starts hallucinating the pact, and ends up falling and having his helmet run over by his own motorcycle. Despite the seriousness of the accident, Johnny Blaze wakes up in a few seconds and stands up as if nothing had happened, causing the audience to go wild. While the acrobat is returning home after the show, a biker is drinking in a roadside bar when the son of Mephisto himself shows up to visit. Not knowing who he is talking to, the man tells him that this territory belongs to his gang and orders him to leave, but Blackheart is not intimidated in the slightest and pierces the human's heart with a single finger, causing the biker's body to rot from the inside out. Inside the bar, the Prince of Darkness eliminates everyone else and summons 3 fallen angels to serve him. Happy to see his companions again after so long, Blackheart reveals that he has come to Earth to recover the San Venganza Pact and asks for their help in the mission, saying that once they have completed the mission, they will take over the human world without anyone being able to stop them. Just then, Mephisto appears outside the bar and calls his son to ask him what he's doing on Earth, getting quite angry when he finds out about his plans. As he is not a fallen angel, Blackheart knows that Mephisto has no power over him and says that as long as he is on Earth, there is nothing his father can do to stop him. But the king of the underworld still has one last card up his sleeve, his Ghost Rider. Unaware that war is about to break out, Blaze is leaving the dressing room for his next show when Roxanne appears among the paparazzi and asks if he can do an interview with an old friend. Happy to see her again, the stuntman agrees to answer a few questions and the broadcasting team makes all the preparations, but when they start recording, Johnny ignores all their questions and starts talking about their past, forcing the director to end the interview. After the conversation, Blaze invites Roxanne to watch his show and she refuses, getting into the station van and going home. Although shaken, the stuntman decides to continue with the performance and prepares to jump across an football field. To make matters worse, he adds 6 helicopters as obstacles along the way, precisely the number his father mentioned before he perished. Wanting to reunite with Roxanne, Johnny puts on his helmet and starts the jump ahead of schedule, accelerating as fast as he can and using nitro to jump over the helicopters. After the maneuver, the acrobat starts burn rubber and goes straight to the interstate to talk to Roxanne. But as she refuses to stop to talk to him, Blaze gets in front of the van and forces the driver to brake. After she gets out of the car, Johnny invites her to dinner and the woman makes an appointment for 8 o'clock at the restaurant in her hotel. But as he is getting ready to leave, the man notices his hands getting extremely red for no apparent reason. Startled, Blaze washes his hands, which begin to smoke, until someone calls out to him from outside. When he goes out to investigate, he finds Mephisto telling him that it's time for Johnny to fulfill his part of the bargain and destroy Blackheart, and that if he succeeds, he'll be free of the pact and have his soul back. Still angry, Johnny refuses to serve him and climbs on the motorcycle he got from his father, but Mephisto tells him he has no choice and uses his powers to make the vehicle accelerate at such an insane speed that it sets the road on fire, as well as knocking over his license plate in the middle of the asphalt. As he rides out of town, Blaze's body begins to catch fire until his skin melts, transforming him into the Ghost Rider, an extremely overpowered burning skeleton. Searching for the San Venganza Pact, Blackheart and his fallen angels go to where an old cemetery used to be and discover that the place has been moved to another address. Wanting to locate the graves, the demons find the janitor and start questioning him until the man reveals that the church has moved the building elsewhere, so they must talk to the priest to find the cemetery. With the information he wanted, Blackheart destroys the janitor's body and prepares to fight the Ghost Rider who has just arrived. With a different personality from Johnny, Mephisto's horseman orders Blackheart to go back to hell and one of the fallen angels responds with an attack that causes the biker to get his neck caught in a chain, but as he doesn't need to breathe, he gets up normally and takes the steel alloy to use as a weapon. As he advances towards his enemies, he is trapped by the water demon and finally run over by a truck driven by the earth demon, making the fallen angels think they have defeated him. Suddenly, Johnny gets out from under the truck and punches Gressel so hard that he melts part of his face, using the burning chain to heat up the earth demon's body and turn him into a limestone statue. After leaving the first angel in pieces, the biker calls his motorcycle and touches it with his hands, making the vehicle look even more insane. While Roxanne waits in the restaurant, Johnny wanders around town looking for the Blackheart when he comes across a thief trying to mug a woman. As soon as he realizes what is happening, the biker nods for the girl to leave and judges the assailant guilty, grabbing him by the neck and ordering him to look him in the eye. To defend himself, the bandit tries to stick his knife in Johnny's back and realizes that the blade has been completely melted. Analyzing the robber's soul, the biker realizes that it is stained with innocent blood and uses his powers to make him relive all the suffering he has caused, corrupting the thief's spirit and making him fall to the ground lifeless. With dawn not long away, Johnny drives to the cemetery until the sunlight completes the transformation, returning both his body and his motorcycle to normal. Exhausted, Blaze crawls to his father's grave and collapses in front of the headstone where he is found by the gravedigger. A few hours later, Johnny wakes up feeling insanely thirsty and drinks the many mugs of water lying next to his bed. After quenching his thirst, he starts looking for his bike and ends up meeting the gravedigger again, who reveals that it was real, ending Blaze's hopes that it was all a bad dream. While bandaging Johnny, the old man talks about the function of the riders and explains that during the day he will live his life as a normal person, but that at night, the Ghost Rider will appear to confront evil. With little flashes of memory, The acrobat talks about the sins he saw in the robber's soul, and the gravedigger reveals that this is the penance stare, the power capable of incinerating the soul of the impure. Curious, Blaze asks about the existence of other knights, and the gravedigger replies that the last one appeared 150 years ago in San Venganza, telling the whole story about the Pact of 1,000 Souls. Back in town, Blaze sees all the destruction he caused during the night and finds Roxanne talking to the woman he saved the night before. After the interview, Johnny goes to the reporter to apologize, and the woman refuses to listen to him, saying that her life has only improved since they split up and that she intends to keep it that way. Even though he's upset, the man refuses to answer and goes home, where he starts training to control his powers, until he's visited by Roxanne, who shows up wanting to apologize. As it's about to get dark, Johnny is afraid to transform in front of her and does everything he can to make her leave, but as the woman refuses, he decides to be honest and tells her that he sold his soul to the devil, as well as talking about his transformation into the Ghost Rider. Obviously, Roxanne doesn't believe the story and leaves, thinking he's making excuses for abandoning her when she was young. As soon as the girl leaves, the police captain arrives with several vehicles and takes him in for questioning, saying that they found his license plate at the scene of the crime, accusing him of having eliminated the mugger, the janitor, and the bikers in the bar. Realizing that his partner is getting carried away, the sergeant decides to take over the interrogation and tries to light a cigarette before asking any more questions, but the flames are always drawn in Blaze's direction. Although he finds it strange, the sergeant ignores it and starts asking him what he was doing the night before, but as Johnny insists that he is innocent, the police decide to let him spend some time at the police station. At the sight of someone famous, the other criminals approach and begin to beat Johnny up until he transforms into the Ghost Rider, knocking everyone out with a burst of flames. With the criminals on the ground, Blaze steals the jacket of one of them and melts the bars to get away, but just as he's about to get on his motorcycle, one of the cops appears to try and stop him with a baton blow. Since he has no reason to confront the officers, the biker just waves to the policeman and walks away. Outside the city, Black Heart goes to the church to ask the priest about the San Venganza Pact, eliminating the priest the moment he refuses to answer. Sensing Black Heart's presence, the spirit of vengeance pilots towards the enemy while the entire police force pursues him, trapping him on a bridge. With nowhere else to go, Johnny jumps into the river and starts riding on the water until he reaches an end in the street, where he is attacked by Abigor, the wind demon. Before they can continue the battle, a police car catches up with them and the biker starts climbing up the wall of the building until he reaches the terrace. As the police continue to chase him, the biker starts to get angry and uses his chain to throw the helicopter away, scaring off the pilot so that he can fight Abigor without anyone interfering. While Roxanne and the others watch from the ground, Johnny confronts the Demon of the Winds and tries to use the penance stare, but as it is intangible, Abigor manages to escape his hands with extreme ease. Thinking of a way to deal with the fallen angel, Blaze sets his chain on fire and begins to twist it around his enemy, creating a whirlwind of flames that burns up all the oxygen. With this, he manages to erase Abigor from existence and begins to descend from the building, being met by dozens of police officers who aim in his direction. When she sees the biker, Roxanne recognizes Johnny and realizes that everything he said was true, but when she tries to approach him to talk to him, the policemen think the entity is going to attack and start shooting, hitting Mephisto's servant with hundreds of shots. With no reason to fight the lawman, the biker erects a large barrier of flames to keep them at bay and drives off, but unbeknownst to him, Black Heart was watching everything and realized his connection to Roxanne, making the woman his main target. When dawn breaks, Johnny goes to the gravedigger, who decides to tell him a little more about the previous rider, revealing that he was a ranger called Carter Slade. Driven by greed, he ended up being arrested and spent months in jail, reaching such a level of desperation that he didn't think twice before accepting the pact with Mephisto. After becoming a Ghost Rider, Slade went to San Venganza and collected all the souls, but he realized how dangerous it would be in the hands of the wrong person and decided to run away with the contract, being buried with it after he perished. Knowing that Black Heart won't rest until he gets the scroll, the gravedigger says that everyone around him is in danger and Johnny gets worried about Roxanne, deciding to go back to town to see if she's okay. As soon as Blaze leaves, the gravedigger hears strange sounds outside and finds Black Heart, who begins to hit the old man to make him talk, but even after receiving several punches and kicks, the gravedigger laughs in the demon's face as he says that he will fail just like his father. While Johnny visits the station looking for Roxanne, the woman goes to the apartment to see if he's there and finds Black Heart waiting for her. Unaware that his lover is being held prisoner, the stuntman goes to his apartment and finds the girl seriously injured. As soon as he meets Mephisto's son, Johnny transforms into the rider and tries to use his penance stare, but as he has no soul, Blackheart is unaffected by the power of the spirit of vengeance and manages to knock him out with ease, turning him back into his human form. Victorious, the leader of the fallen angels says that Blaze will now serve him and orders him to take the contract from the Gravedigger and take it to San Venganza, capturing Roxanne to ensure that the human carries out his orders. Out of options, the stuntman goes to the cemetery and asks the Gravedigger where the contract is, discovering that the parchment has been hidden in the handle of the shovel all this time. After handing over the object, the Gravedigger says they should leave as soon as possible and transforms into a Ghost Rider, revealing himself to be Carter Slade. Together, the two entities approach San Venganza and the Gravedigger says goodbye, saying that this is his last transformation, handing the biker a shotgun and setting off towards the horizon on his horse. In the abandoned village, Blackheart notices Blaze approaching and orders Wallow to try and stop him, sending the water demon to surprise Mephisto's horsemen and take him underwater. Even in the enemy's territory, Johnny manages to transform himself and uses his penance stare on the fallen angel, making his soul burn from the inside out. With no one else to stop him, Blaze goes to the center of San Venganza where Blackheart is waiting for him. Knowing that Roxanne will be eliminated if he transforms, Johnny asks Mephisto's son to release the girl and shows him the contract. Making sure she's safe, he slowly approaches and hands the scroll to Blackheart, transforming into the rider as soon as the villain touches the scroll. The two entities then start battling and Blackheart manages to knock Blaze to the ground, who starts throwing fireballs at his back. With daylight about to break, the biker grabs his chain and tries to pull the Prince of the Underworld by the arm, but ends up losing the contest of strength and is thrown down a well just as dawn breaks, ending his transformation. As Johnny crawls to the shotgun, the son of Mephisto reads the contract and frees the more than 1,000 corrupted souls that begin to be absorbed by him, transforming him into the Legion. Worried, Roxanne runs to Johnny and tries to convince him to run away now that Blackheart has what he wants, but knowing that he will never allow them to escape, Blaze says that he must keep his end of the bargain and takes the shotgun to shoot the demon. Even with several shots, a human weapon can't hurt a demon and Blackheart manages to take down the knight with extreme ease. With Johnny about to have his soul destroyed, Roxanne picks up the shotgun from the ground and starts firing at Legion until the ammunition runs out, making her the villain's new target. To save her, Blaze asks the girl to throw the gun and manages to turn the object into a demonic version of a shotgun that hits Blackheart and causes his body to disintegrate in flames. Even so, Legion manages to regroup the spirits and rebuild his body, which makes Johnny realize that now he finally has a soul and is susceptible to the biker's power. With that, he transforms into the spirit of vengeance and uses his most powerful blow, making Blackheart feel the penance stare for each of the 1,000 souls. In this way, Johnny manages to defeat Legion and can finally end the pact, but when Mephisto comes to finalize the deal, the stuntman refuses to give back the power and says that he will use the Ghost Rider's curse against his own creator, fighting all the evil in the world with the spirit of vengeance. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.